Hey everyone, What If Fan here, bringing you another exciting part of What If becoming a mangaka in One Piece world. You can find the fanfic title and the original author's name on my Patreon page. Make sure to check it out and show them some love. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. Alright, let's jump into it. Chapter 191, A Lesson in Emotions. And the End of the Ant King. Part 1. Netero previously believed that the king was vacillating between his nature as a human and his nature as an ant, but now, with these words from the narrator, the first half of the new episode of HXH anime is over, but every island that has an art store on its territory, the viewer's silence is still the only thing to describe how amazing the episode's previous scenes. Before yesterday, the weekly episode of One Piece anime, which is still in the Alabasta War events, was shown. And yesterday the weekly episode of the Naruto anime, which is still in the events of Naruto's battle against Sasuke, was shown. But today, the HXH episode was already in the middle of its show. At the end of the episode's first part, Maruam was finally able to remember Komugi, which made viewers breathe a sigh of relief, and some cried for joy. South Blue, in the Brisk Kingdom, whose citizens were immersed in the drama of the amazing events of HXH, suddenly a huge shadow covered the kingdom's land. The people of the Brisk Kingdom raised their heads in astonishment. As if lightning struck them, they all ran away in shock and confusion. A huge ship surrounded by an extremely heavy purple glow was slowly descending from the sky. An abnormal event like this would definitely scare the shit out of those ordinary civilians. The situation would have turned into chaos if the ship had not stopped in the air without moving down again. And also because the Kingdom King sent his messengers to all the areas where there are large gatherings of people who are watching today's episode. From the messengers, the civilians knew that a devil fruit user was controlling the floating ship, so there was no need to worry. Although they did not yet know what the purpose of this ship appeared on their island, they would not doubt the words of their king. Only the king knows that this ship is the same ship that left this island 200 years ago. Fufufu, it seems that the chaos is calmed down below. I told you that this method of entry is scary, Ishu-san. Doflamingo looked at the calmed crowd below and said. Beside him, Rosinante and Enel both had excited expressions. Looks like we came at the time of an anime episode, so lucky. It's HXH. Only now the interest of Mihawk, Doflamingo, and the rest was drawn to the store screen, which began to show the events of the second part of the HXH episode. Unfortunately, I can watch only by using observation hockey, but it will not be as good as real eyes. I will rewatch the episode in the anime section inside the art store. This wasn't the first such situation for Ishu, so he wasn't too sad. He still had a chance to regain his sight inside the art store anyway. Look, it's the Ant King. I can't believe how lucky this guy is, surviving that terrifying explosion. This level of strength only the teacher can be like him. But after his reborn again, is he going to die now? Is this the anime you've been talking about all this time? Enel was curious about everything. He moved to Skypiea only a few days ago, and he has not yet settled in a residence there. He also met Doflamingo and Rosinante and befriended them and had to work as a guide in the White Sea and thus spent 5 days searching with them, so he did not find time to enter the art store and learn about this strange world. But Rosinante and Doflamingo tell him a lot about the art store. They later turn out to be humans from the Blue Sea, not what he thought. After Doflamingo decided to use Ishu's ability to get down by the ship from the Sea of Clouds into the South Blue, Enel decided to go with them and explore the mysterious and wonderful world that his two friends had told him about. And at the first point of his journey, he was not at all disappointed. The excitement he was feeling right now was unimaginable. Yes, Enel, this is the anime show on the store screen. There is a similar one in Skypiea right now, and the anime shown is Hunter x Hunter. It's my favorite anime. Gone so strong. So cool. Fufufu, kids always like kids like themselves. What did you say? Doflamingo and Rosinante almost got into another fight. But the events of the episode quickly attracted them. The king turned his En into countless particles, scattering them all over. Maruam, if you have conditions for exchange Komugi, utter them. Maruam, it looks like only one of both is here. But both of you are directly related to this message.
Palm, he knows exactly what we're doing. We won't succeed in deceiving him.
Maruam, what I felt upon touching your nen was not anger, fear, or hatred, but determination and a sense of duty.
If you are fighting for the survival of humanity, the battle is over. Do you need more clarification?
You seem suspicious of what you just heard. So I will repeat what I just said.
The battle is over.
The reason for my existence here is very simple.
I have one motive. I wish to see the female human, Komugi, that's all I want. That's really all I want.
There is something, somewhere, that has changed very little. In my case, I'm not a god, but...
No.
I might feel like I'm realizing things that I wasn't aware of before.
Will you allow me to use my ability to watch your last moments with her? If that's what I need to do to be with Komugi, so you can do that. Oh my god. What did my eyes see? Did the Ant King try to kneel to Palm now?
This.
No way.
All this for a blind human girl.
A true blind is a blind-hearted. Komugi is the most kindness creature I've ever seen.
Don't be so shocked, guys. The Ant King, despite his strength, he is someone who doesn't have a blind heart. A big smile appeared on Ishu's youth face. He was currently using his strength extremely excessively, still maintaining a huge ship floating in the air, and he was also using observation haki with great concentration to see what was displayed on the store screen. That was why he could hear the voices of the people below who were stunned by the fact that the Ant King was trying to kneel to Palm in order to find a blind human girl. The silence was the only answer from My Hawk, Doflamingo, and the others. They were also shocked by how much a king's heart had changed. Someone as great as him kneeling to someone inferior to him. This was what they absolutely did not expect. But it happened. The next scene showed the death of another one of the king's guards, Poof, in a shocking scene. Well, it was already expected, but it was shocking nonetheless. With this, viewers on every island can anticipate the end of the Ant arc soon. But the next scenes made viewers cry unstoppable tears. Even the most staunch men, their emotions were moved by it. Today's episode was a special lesson in emotions and love for everyone in the pirate world.
Chapter 192, A Lesson in Emotions. And the End of the Ant King. Part 2. Ohara, Art Palace. Sai, stop crying. That's enough. Why are you all crying? They are fictional characters, you know. They didn't really die.
Rob felt a tightness in his chest when he saw all his family crying heartily. They were all crying so hard. His children Robin, Hancock, Sonia, and Maria, as well as Scarlet and Makino, who were his children's friends, who happened to be in the Art Palace with today's episode. Well, obviously the children are more likely to their emotions affected by what they see. Rob was expecting they will cry after watching today's episode of HXH. But even his strong women were crying bitterly like children at this moment. Belmir, who was a revered member of Numbers, was crying too. Toki and Sora, who had also become very powerful after Rob trained them last year, were also crying.
Alvia, honey, stop crying, okay? It's an expected end.
Rob patted Alvia, who was in his arms with little Robin, crying bitterly.
Sniff, sniff, why you? Don't you have a heart?
Why did you kill them? Why you should have made them live happily together. If the Ant King were still alive, the humanity would be extinct.
Let them go extinct. Ha! Rob was surprised by Alvia's response.
She seems to have been affected by the end of Maruam and Komugi much more than he expected.
30 minutes ago. Silence is back as the only dominant title on every island that has an art store. Everyone watched the unfolding events of the HXH anime with heavy breaths. All HXH fans can already anticipate the end of the arc.
This left them unable to speak. They can only watch, because of the quality of the show, and all the viewers felt like they had become a part of this world. They could sense the feelings of the Ant King at this moment. And who finally admitted that Komugi was the most important person to him, the only human who could change the evil and tyrannical Ant King into a king who could even kneel to a weak being for her. On the display screen, Maruam was able to find Komugi, who was sleeping in a wooden box.
471, Soldier's Leader.
When Maruam saw her talking about Gungi even in her dreams, he laughed, and the audience laughs so hard, temporarily removing the gloomy atmosphere.
Maruam, wake up, Komugi. It's time to play another game.
The next morning, the Hunters Association airships covered the Republic of East Gorto in a spectacle so great that viewers in the pirate world gulped in awe.
If the scene of the Whitebeard fleet's entry into the Summit War is majestic, this scene in the sky was even more awful for the inhabitants of the pirate world because they had never seen anything like it before. We have urgent and shocking news for you. The true face of the summoning of all the citizens of the Republic of East Gorto to the capital was a plot hatched by the Supreme Leader to bring about a massacre against them. The corpse of the Supreme Leader, Diego, was found under the rubble, indicating that the victims had been forced into a mass suicide, but the second-in-command, Minister Bezef, is still missing, so some authorities see revolt as the most likely possibility. At the same time, there is another problem in the NGL area of the Confederation of Minity, where international peacekeepers have sent inquiries regarding refugees and have not received any response. There have been recent rumors of illicit dealings between NGL and East Gorto, and the international community is seeking to use the incident as an opportunity to conduct a tougher investigation. Why does what they are presenting in the news have nothing to do with reality at all? Why are they talking about that trash Supreme Leader? Where is the majestic Ant King? Why didn't they show him on the news? Idiot! Don't you know that the civilians of the hunter world don't know anything about the world of the supernatural? The appearance of an Ant King will cause chaos.
I really pity them. All this greatness is in their world, but they have no eyes to see. The rulers of the world are hiding the truth with all their might. It is clear that it is a world governed by corruption like ours. No matter how technologically advanced it is, they still have the same problem as us. Shut up, you idiot, we have a bigger problem in our world. It wasn't even the true Supreme Leader who died, it was just a fake.
Maragoa.
The rulers of this world use the press to cover the truth just as we do. The blonde Gorosei spoke with a smiling expression as if admiring the heads of the hunter's world. Well, that is the nature of a head in any world of any kind, but I think what they did was a correct decision. It is wonderful for the humans of the hunter's world to live unaware of the dangers around them.
The bald Gorosei looked at his two speaking companions and said,
"Let's watch the rest of the episode in silence, leave the discussion until after the episode.
Morel, and now, let's drink. Let's drink a toast of the human race. At every age, there will be good and bad people.
Human life is too long to use for procreation, and too short for learning, through the cycles of time. Perhaps this is the reason why humans submit to desire and search for salvation. Although life is integrated with the sun, the earth, and poetry. The grand line, Drum Kingdom." Dr. Hirolik wiped a small tear that formed in his eye because these powerful lines really reached the deepest point of his heart as they resonated with something in his subconscious mind. He was someone who did not dedicate his life to procreation, but to learning. He was a bad human at one point, but he wanted to be good too. What great words!
In every age, there will be good and bad people. Human life is too long to be harnessed for the procreation and too short to be harnessed for the learning. It's true, the owner of this saying is absolutely right. But my life has been long enough for me to learn a lot.
Suddenly an old woman who was drinking a bottle of wine beside him spoke.
"Are you even a human? Oh, ouch. Why did you hit me, old witch? If I am not a human, then what am I, you fake doctor?" Poem, it's over.
With the return of the scene to what is already over. The people of the pirate world felt a pain in their hearts when they saw Palm's tears, which refused to stop for some reason. Maruam and Komugi reappear in the scene playing Gungi, which is apparently the last game of their lives.
"Komugi, I feel like we haven't played in ages. Playing in real life is completely different than in my dreams." Maruam, yeah.
"Komugi, I thought I felt someone kick me hard in the stomach, and then, a stranger kidnapped me."
"But you must have saved me, Supreme Leader."
Maruam, it was not I who saved you, but my followers who did.
Komugi, I made a mistake? I rushed to the wrong conclusion.
Maruam, I did not deserve their loyalty.
Komugi, I should thank them if they pass us by.
Maruam will pass your gratitude to them because I will see them soon.
Maruam, I know, let's get started. Kamugi, yes. Maruam, you once asked me my name. Kamugi, why yes. Maruam, my name is Maruam. What a tough match. How just the Gungi game contains all that excitement? Who do you think would win? I'm so excited.
Really great, I didn't expect a game like this to be so exciting. Ben Beckman used his hat to hide the upper half of his face, but he couldn't hide the lower half of his face, which had a big smile. He was drawn to this island by the art store during his trip to the Grand Line. Although it was cold here, his current excitement made him feel warm.
The intelligence of these two is far greater than mine. That's what I have to admit. Chapter 193, The End of the Best Duo. 441, Pawn. 651, Knight. 272, New Spy. Kamugi, are you still there? Yes, I sure am. I'm not going anywhere. 451, Lieutenant General. That's checkmate. Kamugi, are you still here? Yes, yes. Right here. Let's play another match. Kamugi. Yes, yes. What is it? It appears I never defeated you a single time. What are you saying? We've just gotten started. Yes. 151, Marshall. 951, Marshall. Kamugi, are you still here? Yes, of course. It's your turn, Maruam-sama. I'm a little tired. I need to take a short nap. Will you hold my hand? Kamugi? Kamugi, are you there? I can hear you. I understand. Like this? I'll wake up shortly. Will you stay by my side until I wake? I've never left your side. I'll always be here. Kamugi. Yes, yes. What is it? Thank you. You're welcome. Will you call me? Yes? By my name one last time? Good night, Maruam. I'll be joining you soon. Did they die? No, they are dead. Why? Why do I feel such a stifling pain in my chest? Sniff, sniff, this is so painful. A stifling silence fell on Oro Jackson's ship at this moment. On the side, both Shanks and Buggy were crying bitterly, their tears looked like a river, soaking everything within a few meters of them. Not to mention Buggy and Shanks, even Odin and his subordinates were crying bitterly as them. Roger and Rayleigh secretly scanned the sides of their eyes, but their red noses showed it all. They had never felt such emotions for someone's story before. Every member of Roger's crew was deeply affected by the end of Maruam and Kamugi. They were so emotional that they couldn't resist being touched by it. We need to find that bastard Rob. He must pay for every tear. I agree. Me too. Count me. Roger got up from his seat and went to the bow of the ship. He sat there overlooking the sea. They were on their way out of the New World through Fishman Island, but it seemed they needed to take a rest before that. A smile appeared on Roger's face. He quickly got out of that sad emotional state. You never cease to amaze me, Rob. I don't know if there is a real world where the Ant King and Kamugi died, but in every world, death is what completes the being. Guys, no need to be sad. These two were born to live this moment. Didn't they realize it themselves? Why sadness, when we should be happy for them? Hearing Captain Roger's words, Whitey Bay hugged her husband Odin from behind to relieve a little of his frustrations. She was crying too, but her crying was silent compared to her husband who, due to his jovial nature, was more likely to show his feelings exactly as they were. But when Roger started to speak, Odin and the rest of the crew who had been crying stopped, their eyes glimmering with happiness. After a while, at the end of the episode, the crying voices from the ship stopped, but the silence was still the dominant title. The death scene of Maruam and Kamugi caused great emotional damage to the Fun crew, of which Roger's words brought back only some of it. This wasn't the first time that anime shows made them cry. Aoi, Naruto, and One Piece all made them cry at some point in the story. But this time, this scene from HXH was too heavy for their hearts. Water 7. Gee guys. For both of you to die like this, next to each other. Idiots! I'm not crying, damn it.
By the end of the episode, Caddy Flam was also crying heartily at the end of one of his best characters. He was very impressed with the Ant King. Despite being evil, he didn't want him to die. And when he did die with Kamugi, Caddy Flam felt so sad for the best duo for him.
Suddenly, someone put a hand on his shoulder. I can now understand why you like HXH.
It was his friend Iceberg who said that.
Idiot. Everyone understands now. You understood it too late. We will never see this couple again.
Seeing that they were watching the show from atop an apartment building, the blue-haired kid looked at the ground down, which was filled with many people who couldn't control their emotions like him.
Everyone was crying.
Almost the same scene was present on every island with an art store.
Maragoa.
The annoying voices of celestial dragons crying were prevalent in this place as well.
Why? Why did Maruam and Kamugi die? Damn the author.
A female celestial dragon cried bitterly because of the scene that came after the ending song. Next to her stood two silent guards, but from under their black glasses came a torrent of silent tears.
Vestyard-sama, where are you going?
The guards of the celestial dragon, terrified, ran behind the angry celestial dragon.
I will take a trip to Ohara to compel the author to revive Maruam and Kamugi. This cannot go on any longer. That's not possible, Vestyard-sama.
I used to hate the Ant King, who considers us who have authority without real strength just insects, but why do I cry after his death?
Why do I feel so sad? Dad, tell me. I don't know. Ask that group of slaves, they cry like you.
But why don't you cry, Dad?
It's because I'm angry. In Pangaea Castle.
Sigh, what a sad ending for a ruler-level force.
Is this the real death? What is this? Feeling wet?
Imu put her hand on her cheek, feeling her milky skin, but she felt something unusual, which she hadn't felt before.
Tear. She was crying. Am I crying? Briss Kingdom.
The huge ship sat in the kingdom's port, but no one cared about it yet. The ship was the S-Class mission title. She was transported from the Sea of Clouds in the Sky Island to the South Blue in the Earth. But even so, no one cared about it now, even the people on board.
I'm leaving. I need to hone my skills. Issue, do we continue our trip from here, or do you still need to clear your mind? I don't recommend you rewatch this episode, it's too sad.
With a gentle expression, Issue looked at Mihawk, who had jumped off the ship. My mind is clearer than ever. You're right, I don't need to rewatch this episode, not because I haven't watched it well, but because I don't need to. I've got the whole essence of the episode. My heart that didn't see well before now sees everything.
All thanks to Maruam and Kamugi.
Issue wiped his tears before jumping off the ship towards Mihawk. This young man still needs him to train, so he won't skimp on helping him.
Doflamingo, Rosinante, and Enel all remained on board.
Rosinante was still crying heartily, while Enel sat in his place in astonishment. But Doflamingo was thinking about why someone as strong as Maruam would have died. Chapter 194, Preparations for the Skypiea Arc.
This is the ship you asked us to look for, isn't it?
On the shore of the Briss Kingdom, Doflamingo pointed to the huge galleon that lay quietly on the shore.
This. Unbelievable, the ship that left this kingdom 200 years ago has already returned.
The king in amazement approached the ship. When he touched its worn-out old wooden frame with many holes, he felt as if he dated back to the past, exactly 200 years ago. As soon as the king pulled his hand, that feeling disappeared. The king wiped the side of his eye. He cried a lot today after being touched by the end of Maruam and Kamugi, but at the time when he should be happy to have his kingdom restored their lost heritage, he started crying again. Thank you, young man, for all you did to find the ship and move it here. From now on you will become a noble in my kingdom.
No need, bye. Rosinante, Enel. Come on, it's time to leave.
The king and his guards looked at the departing Doflamingo in astonishment. When the king learns that the one who proposed to give him a noble title in his kingdom was once a celestial dragon, what will his reaction be? Perhaps he will laugh at his stupidity. S-Class mission,
search for the St. Brice ship and return it to the Brice Kingdom. Status, complete. Hunters, A-Class Don Quixote Party, Don Quixote da Flamingo, Don Quixote Rozinante. East Blue, Syrup Village. Yassip looked at his hunter card, feeling envious. He was also an A-Class hunter in the guild, but he didn't have the capabilities to accept the previous S-Class assignment. Any mission above A-Class is announced to all guild hunters right after it is completed, while missions from lower levels and completed are announced to people who chose to complete them but did not succeed. This Doflamingo is ahead of himself, he's definitely going to be a number in the future. Okay, Banshina, stop crying now, the episode is already over long ago, your tears won't bring back Kamugi and Maruum. Banshina looked at her husband with red eyes, her long nose was wet with snot, but this did not bother Yassip at all, he loved her as she was. Even someone as great as the Ant King loved a girl who couldn't even control her snot. This was exactly what made the story of Kamugi and Maruum closer to the hearts of all viewers, and their ending scene managed to reach all viewers' hearts without exception and affect their emotions. In Yassip's eyes, Banshina was the cutest woman ever, after all, she is his wife. He won't let that ending in the manga touch her. But sniff sniff, I wanted to see them live together, they don't deserve that ending. Sky Island, Angel Beach. Rob looked at the guild notice with a smile. Doflamingo and his brother had succeeded in the task in a short 7 days, these kids were really talented. What Rob didn't know was that without Issue's help, Doflamingo and his brother probably wouldn't be able to finish the task. Robin-chan, are you okay now? Rob was holding Robin in his arms as they sat in a very nice place. This place looked like it came out of a fairy tale. This place was exactly the same place where Rob ate the lightning fruit back then when his body exploded and he was reborn. After that huge explosion, a huge hole was formed in the clouds at the bottom, the sandy shore was blown up, and a leak of the waters of the White Sea formed, which formed a natural waterfall that flowed into the second layer of the White Sea below. A permanent rainbow can be seen in this place. This is a great place to unwind for sure, one of the best places in Skypiea. Fine, Papa, after you told me that Kamugi and Maruum didn't really die but they went to heaven together, I felt so happy for them. Yes, you saw what Maruum said, right? He said he will rest a little but he will wake up quickly. What he indicated is that he will wake up in their new place, there he will find Kamugi with him too, and even his 3 royal guards will be there. Rob was doing everything in his power to bring joy to his child's face, after all, she was the most precious thing to him. Is heaven like this where we are now? Little Robin tilted her head intently, pointing her finger at the white clouds that were slowly floating near the rainbow. Yes, this is the heaven in our world, so they definitely have a heaven like this in their world. Papa, I love you. You're the best. Little Robin got her big laugh back and hugged Rob happily, laughing sweetly. This father loves you too, more than anything else in this world. What about this poor mom? Behind Rob suddenly appeared a beautiful white-haired woman in a black and white maid's uniform. Mama, I love you too. Robin jumped from her father's cuddle into her mother's arms with ease and dipped her little head between her soft breasts, laughing happily. Rob looked at this cute scene and did not forget to etch this picture into his photographic memory forever. Surely you are also very precious to me, you are my wife, you know. After saying that, Rob looked at Sora, Toki, Belmir, Gloriosa, and Otoheim, who were behind Alvia looking down awkwardly. He smiled satisfyingly before approaching them. Since his height was 260, he was taller than all of them. When he stood in front of them, they instinctively felt tense, but nonetheless, they raised their heads to look at him confidently. He was the man they all loved and trusted, so what was the cause for tension? You two, ladies, the most valuable thing to me. But Rob's words to them left them reeling in shock, not to mention tense. Put. Alvia behind him let out a chuckle. Mom. Dad flirts with the ants. Isn't that a problem? Robin with her small hand pointed at Rob, who was whistling as if he hadn't said anything. They are your mothers too. From now on you never call them ants again, okay? My mothers? On Rob's orders, the staff of the main waitresses moved from Ohara to Sky Island temporarily. All this is to prepare for the next Skypiea arc. Rob has to do the best of himself to win the Scipians and Shandorians' favor.
So Rob and his women settled on Sky Island. Rob was in the final stages of drawing the new volume that contains a lot of information and fun thing. The Skypiea arc is sure to cause a global stir, much bigger than the previous Alabasta arc.
So Rob was keen to put all the dots on the right letters. Chapter 195. Heaven's Gate Port Project that will change the world. There's an important question I've always wanted to ask you about, Gonfall, can you answer me of it?
Rob looked at the Skypiea god who was taking a respectful stance in front of him and spoke.
Of course, you can ask anything you want.
I'll be happy to inform you, Rob-san. Gonfall impatiently looked away from the strange and gigantic building on the distant horizon behind Rob. This building was what Rob promised by it 2 years ago. The ticket out of seclusion for all the Skypians. Is there another way to get to Sky Island without relying on knock upstream from Jaya below? Gonfall was surprised by the question asked by Rob. Actually, yes, there is a second way to get to Sky Island and it's completely safe, but it's very random and uncertain. Rob's eyes narrowed when he heard that.
What is this method? Can you explain more?
It's called the Summit of High West, and it was given this name by the first humans who used this way to reach Skypiea in the past. From the records, this method is recorded had used only 5 times.
The last time was 185 years ago.
The captain of the St. Brice ship you drew in the manga may have used this method to reach Skypiea, I believe.
Summit of High West? Tell me what you know about this way.
Well, just like knock upstream, this way is completely natural, but it's unexplained and mysterious. Also it's very safe but happens randomly. There is a kind of solid clouds that separate from the Sky Island for an unknown reason. Once every century, when these clouds separate from the Sky Island, they do not roam in the sky like the other imperial clouds but fall into the blue sea. The strange thing is after a few months they return to the Sky Island loaded with seawater and sea creatures from the blue sea, and in the previous 5 times they returned loaded with ships and people on board.
So then, what a strange phenomenon. The climatologists in Weatheria probably know about it, right? Weatheria. You know about that place too? Do you still think there is something in this world that I don't know?
Gonfall was in awe at this moment. He remembered being in front of the One Piece author in person.
Yes, what can be hidden from such a person?
Well, they may know a little about this phenomenon, but these old comrades keep their research to themselves in complete secrecy, but with your strength, if you find them, they will tell you everything.
Well, that's enough, you've satisfied my curiosity.
Gonfall, some of his divine guards, and Rob were currently in the lower White Sea of Skypiea, exactly at the place called Heaven Gate, which was the access station to Sky Island. Finally, this place will be able to achieve the purpose of its establishment, that is, it will start work soon to receive many visitors.
So this building is. This building? Do you see it as a building? Well, it is.
Rob turned to the huge building, which was not like any ordinary building but looked more like a huge walled port with lots of sea channels. From above, its design looks like the shell of a huge snail. It contains 6 sea paths, and at the end of each path, there are lakes containing static water. The 6 paths meet at Heaven's Gate. The engineering design seemed out of this world.
Rob and his hunters spent 3 months on this project to finish it.
But without the art store's teleportation ability, this iconic port would not have been completed in the first place. Rob had to put 12 art stores into this huge project. 6 of them were placed in Heaven's Gate port alone. Yes, every lake at the end of the 6 canals has an art store, but they can't be called art stores anymore. Rob designed them to only serve as access channels and exit points too. Oddly enough, they have most of the features of a regular art store, but from the outside, they only look like water lagoons. The teleportation room in each store has been modified to include all parts of the store interior. There are no sections in these stores, and the large interior space feature has been cancelled. They still have walls, but Rob made them invisible. He also eliminated the art store lighthouse, and replaced the hard floor with a water floor. Author's note: it's hard to describe what this port looks like, but you can be imagined it as a huge port with 6 art stores in the middle, but the art stores are only included for their teleportation ability.
This is the Heaven's Gate port. the port that will be the most famous and greatest in the world. It took 3 months to build, as you know, and many professional hunters from my guild participated in its construction. It will be the fastest and safest way to travel from the Blue Sea to the Sky Island ever. The port will start work next week, after the Skypiea arc in the manga. Gonfal and his divine guards stood frozen in their place in shock. The port was very big. If the Heaven's Gate they were standing on now was 1,000 cubic meters in size, the port in front of them could be stacked dozens of Heaven's Gates inside, and it would still be a vast space. It wasn't that they didn't know about it while it was being built, but Rob had banned Skypians and even Shandorians and outsiders from entering this place so as not to hamper the work of his subordinates. This was the first time they saw the completed project. How does this port work? I mean, how will it transport people from the Blue Sea to the sky and from the sky to the Blue Sea? Do you want to know now? Or would you rather try it yourself later? Rob was amused by the shocked expression on the faces of God and his followers. I want to know now. Please tell me, Rob-san. Well, you see, at the end of those 6 channels there are areas of static water. Those areas are where the magic happens. When the port comes into operation, there will be teleported 6 times a day. 3 times to leave and 3 times to come back. 3 times a day, once ships enter those static water areas, they will suddenly disappear and instantly appear in a similar static water area in the Blue Sea down there. It's simple, that's how teleportation works. Gonfal's eyes widened like saucers and his chin fell to the ground in shock. Is this real? Well, let's confirm whether it's real or not. Rob snapped 2 fingers and his yacht, which he had not used for a long time, appeared on the White Sea. Rob boarded the yacht and took down the stairs for Gonfal and his guards to climb. Please go up. Well, excuse us. What a beautiful ship, is that metal? The yacht headed to one of the 6 channels. Before entering the sea path, Gonfal and his guards raised their heads to check what was written on the big banner hanging at the beginning of the path. On arrow South Blue on arrow. On the other channels, there are similar banners, but each channel has a different destination. Along the sea path, there are many guide banners, containing information about the destination they are going to, general information about the South Blue, and special information about the island which is the closest destination after moving to the South Blue. Gonfal felt awe when he entered the yacht into the static water lake. It was the same feeling he feels when he enters the art store, but he didn't see any art store here. This was a secret Rob didn't want to reveal. He could reveal the teleportation ability, but he would try not to tie it to the art store for sure. In front of Rob the store window appeared. He can still use the store window as normal to tweak anything in this place, and that's the best of it. Rob turned on teleportation manually, because he hasn't yet programmed it to auto-teleportation until this port officially opens. Place, Heaven's Gate, Port 4, Art Store. Destination, South Blue Port Art Store. Edit, the 2 destinations are permanently linked. Do you want to edit this action? No, thanks. As soon as he manually activated the teleportation feature, a white glow appeared that enveloped the entire lake, but it disappeared the next moment and with it the yacht and its passengers. Immediately after that, the yacht appeared in a similar place. But instead of white water, the water under the yacht was blue. Gonfal and his guards gasped in shock again. The shocks they received today were big enough to drive them crazy. Rob took control of the yacht and sailed through the path of entering the Brisk Kingdom instead of the second path that led to the vast South Blue Sea. Welcome to South Blue, welcome to Brisk Kingdom. This banner was the last one on the sea path outside the port, which was a few kilometers from the coast of the kingdom. The port they exited from was a much smaller version of the Heaven Gate port. So, is this real now? On the shore of Brisk Kingdom, Rob asked Gonfal, who's still trying to digest his shock. Chapter 196, The Emergence of the Revolutionary Army. This ship looks a lot better than its manga counterpart. Rob was standing in front of the ship of St. Brice. Behind him stood a group of people, most notably Gonfal and the king of the Brisk Kingdom, as well as the Don Quixote brothers and young Enel. All credit to these children, I am truly grateful to them from the bottom of my heart. Not only did they find my ancestor's ship with his corpse on it but also return the ship without a single scratch. Such generosity is something I cannot repay in this life.
Actually, it was one of the numbers, the Death Swamp issue, who brought the ship out of the sky without damage. I only found it.
Death Swamp issue.
Even the king was dumbfounded at this moment.
Rob looked at Doflamingo with an unsurprised look.
He knew that there was no way Doflamingo and Rosinante would be able to get down by the ship from the Sea of Clouds to this place without the help of someone who could.
Then how did you intend to get the ship here? Rob was interested to know Doflamingo's answer.
Of course, I would have left the matter of disembarking the ship to the branch of the World Cruise Company.
They aren't under obligation to help you complete an S-class mission. You just have to admit that you were very lucky. Well, you teach me that luck is part of a man's strength, teacher.
Ha ha ha.
Well said. So this is Daffy and Rosinante's teacher. What a great person. Enel felt the tension in his body even from such a distance from Rob.
Rob noticed the young Enel's look at him. He could even predict what he was thinking.
It looks like you did what I suggested to you that day, Gonfal. Good job. When Rob spoke with Gonfal, the focus of the attendees was once again on the people with wings beside them.
For the king of the Brisk Kingdom and his guards, they were still stunned by the fact that they were so close to the Scipians. They found a lot of clues about them in their ancestors' ship, from a map of the Sky Island to items from there and stories about the inhabitants of the Sky Island who are like angels with wings on their backs. Everything they found on the ship was even more amazing than before. Gonfal looked toward Enel, still shocked that he had found this young man below after leaving him in the sky. After seeing a lot of manga events, I was convinced that Robsan wouldn't say something in vain, so I went myself to look for him, and just like you said, I found this kid suffering in Burka.
Those Burkans. They will always make me angry.
Enel was dumbfounded. He didn't think that the reason why the Skypea god came to look for him was an order from this man with whom he had no relationship.
Teacher, are we going to see Enel as the main villain in the next arc?
Fufufu, it looks like you helped save him like you saved us. Rob was surprised by what Doflamingo concluded. This kid was getting smarter with each passing day.
Well, maybe. Who knows? We'll see everything in the next arc.
Now, we will return to Skypea. Enel will be back with us, and you both, your mother is already in Skypea.
Will you come with us too, or will you continue to roam this kingdom? We will definitely come.
Fufufu, as if I would like to spend more time in this boring kingdom. We also want to experience traveling through the legendary Heaven's Gate port.
Equals 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 equals. Luffy, hurrah! We fly to the sky. Usopp, is that really happening? Robin. Chopper, oh. Nami, we did it. Zoro, wow. Sanji, you're amazing. Nami, Redheart. Nami, as long as I can perceive ocean currents and wind direction, we can sail anywhere. Sanji, I love you. Redheart. Luffy, hey, Nami. Will we reach Sky Island soon? Nami, if it really exists, I think it's behind those clouds. Luffy, over the clouds, huh? Luffy. What awaits us above those clouds? Luffy, let's break through the Scythian clouds. Chopper / Usopp, oh. Equals 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 equals. Here's the last volume over, huh? The next one looks interesting. The person who had closed the last volume of One Piece was rather mysterious. He was wearing a robe that completely covered his body including his face. But part of his face can be seen, which contains strange red tattoos. I really wonder what kind of huge waves your next book will cause. What other amazing things will my son do? Captain. We've found Crocodile's traces again. He's in imminent danger, and it looks like Vice Admiral Sakazuki is personally after him this time. Crocodile again? Well, I'll go in person too. It will be the first big number in our Revolutionary Army ranks. East Blue, Fusha Town. Where could you be, son? What made you leave your Navy uniform and leave like that? Garp tore up the letter that the world government sent him.
which was a threatening letter. Since his son disappeared half a year ago, the world government was treating him coldly. They had been threatening him more than once, always saying the same empty words. If you do not find your son and hand him over to us as soon as possible, we will put a bounty on his head and declare him a criminal. Yes, Dragon half a year ago disappeared. When he felt that the investigations into him had reached an alarming stage, he didn't even talk to his father and just disappeared. This gave Garp a headache. He wasn't an idiot, he knew that his son couldn't stand the world government anymore and decided to embark on the path he most likely could take. The path of revolution. I don't know if I should thank you, or hate you, Sky Sword. Your manga has caused me and my family so much trouble. Why do you want to hate Uncle Rob, Grandpa Garp? Garp looked at the little green-haired girl who was tilting her head in confusion after hearing his mutter. Wahahaha. That naughty uncle has caused your grandpa so much trouble. When I find him later, I will personally punch him with my love fist. Grandpa Garp is a bully. Little Makino pulled out her small tongue to Garp and ran towards a pretty waitress dressed as a maid. This was her adoptive mother, Camilla. Mom! Grandpa Garp wants to hit Uncle Rob. What we need to do? Little Makino whispered into Camilla's ear with a dissatisfied but cute expression. Era, did Garp-sama say that? He must be joking with you. Chapter 197, The Confused Sea Kings. In the port of Dressrosa, a strange guy jumped into the air from the merchant ship and get down afloat using an umbrella. His acrobatic stunts made the people of Dressrosa applaud him. Wow! Great move, uncle. That was a crazy stunt, but I like it. You can have a respectable job at Dressrosa's circus with this flexibility. The noble-looking man nobly bowed to the crowd as if he appreciated their applause with all his heart. His friendly attitude made the audience applaud him even more fiercely. Is this Dressrosa then? What a thriving kingdom. Well, if it wasn't for the art store, I wouldn't have come here. After emerging from the coastal area, the man with the umbrella, after a while touring the kingdom, he stopped in front of the art store that was unusually crowded today. This is the art store I've heard so much about. The nobleman's appearance caused the civilians to subconsciously give him a path. In fact, it was this man's supernatural ability that affected these people's subconscious. With this, Patrick Redfield, aka Red the Aloof, was able to easily enter the Dressrosa art store. Once he entered, he felt as if he had entered a separate world, a world where he had to either obey or be banished, being a user of a mythical Zoan, Bat fruit, model. Vampire, he was more sensitive to the changes in place on a mental level. He didn't feel too nervous about this situation and acted like everyone else inside the art store. Young man, where can I find the One Piece books from their first editions? Ha! Are you new here? Yes. Okay, come with me. Redfield followed the young man through the corridors until they reached the manga section. Then they penetrated inside the manga section until they reached the deepest part of the section. Redfield saw several shelves with names like One Piece /Volume 1, One Piece /Volume 2, Bleach /Volume 1, Bleach /Volume 2. Everything was very organized. The first volumes part contained only dozens of books, since the people who were just discovering the manga were getting fewer and fewer as time went by. For people who haven't yet started reading manga, they can get significant discounts. You can talk to one of the store goddesses about your situation and they will help you with a 50% discount on all volumes you intend to purchase. The young man gave his advice and left. Ha! Do you think I'm poor or something, kid? Oof. Since he had already read a pirated version of volumes 1 and 2, Redfield tried to pull out volume 3 to go pay for it before heading to a silent room to enjoy reading the manga. But he was surprised by his inability to withdraw the book from the shelf no matter how hard he tried. Suddenly, a transparent curtain of light appeared above the shelf with big words written on it. Put 1,000 berries on the shelf before trying to pull out the book. AHM. So then. Redfield coughed to hide his embarrassment before taking 1,000,000 berries out of his pocket, pulling out a paper of 1,000 berries, and putting it on the shelf. With this he was able to take volume 3 easily. He didn't hesitate to repeat the same thing with the rest of the shelves that contain volumes 4, 5, and 6. This is exactly the kind of world I dream about.
Patrick Redfield was just as dumbfounded after discovering the art store masterpieces as everyone else who's tried them before him. The experience of having drinks served to him by sexy maid-clothed waitresses and reading interesting manga made him very intrigued. He loved the new kind of life he had just discovered. Since escaping from Impel Down well hidden from view, after all, he's contributed to the murder of the former prison warden, and this is a crime that the world government can never forgive. What he didn't know was that the crime he had contributed to was attributed to Kaito alone. Basically, the world government wasn't interested in hunting him down. Despite his great strength, which could be compared to great pirates like Roger and Shiki, they didn't bother trying to catch him again, simply because they had a lot to do. Suddenly, what everyone was waiting for had happened except for Redfield, who was still in Volume 6. A green glow covered the ceiling of the art store and the sky of Dressrosa at once. This means one thing. The time for the expected new volume. The new One Piece volume has appeared. The screams of the excited crowd made Patrick Redfield dizzy. Days before the volume's release, aboard Oro Jackson, the atmosphere was as lively as ever, even without the manga or anime. It's the North Pole. No, it's the South Pole. North Pole. South Pole. You'll continue this again. Yes, because I'm right. The two young men, Buggy and Shanks, are once again engaged in a fistfight over who is the coldest of the North and South Poles. It's enough. Arg. That's painful. Times 2. You two fight all the time. Who cares if the North Pole is colder or the South Pole? If you really want to know, go to them and saw the things yourself. Calm down, you idiots. Rayleigh intervenes to end their dispute as usual. I want to go to the North Pole and the South Pole too. No, Odin, now, we're going to the Fishman Island first, wahaha. We have arrived at the Sabaody archipelago after all. Beware of that government guild's hunters, we don't want to get involved in a direct conflict. Fishman Island? Odin touched the resin membrane that was covering Oro Jackson's ship, and a big smile appeared on his face as he brought back some not-so-long-ago memories. I've been there with Shiroki-chan before, that place is great. Roger looked at this with his usual smile before speaking. Don't loosen your defenses. No matter how many times you've visited, your chances of death won't decrease. The depths of the seawater were dark enough to block all of their senses, so no one noticed a group of huge sea kings appearing behind them. Will be born. Ha! Roger and Odin were both dumbfounded at once after hearing the mysterious voice. Our leader will be born. Rayleigh, did you hear that? That voice. A clear confusion could be seen in Roger's eyes when he asks Rayleigh. What are you talking about? We are at the bottom of the Silent Sea. No, I heard that too. You too, Odin? Who speaks in Death Sea? Another king will be born in a distant sea. Maybe. Even whales will be happy to know that the two kings will meet again someday. Maybe. Roger and Odin looked at each other in confusion. Odin, do you think they're talking about Luffy? Roger pointed at the departing sea kings and said with a smile on his face. I guess you're right, but will Luffy really be born into this world after becoming famous before he was born? I don't think these sea kings would say nonsense. The rest of the crew looked at both Roger and Odin as if they were crazy. Chapter 198, Sky Island Saga, Skypiea Arc. Part 1. Ha! Why are so many human ships going in and out without any care? Where is the great knight Neptune? Outside the huge bubble of Fishman Island was a row of ships entering regularly, pirate ships, merchant ships, and even government and naval ships. This made the Roger pirates who were at the end of the row dumbfounded. Shouldn't this guy be so wary of humans? Yes, Captain, that's really weird. Why is this, my dear? Odin was curious about the reactions of both Roger and his wife Whitey Bay. This is because the people of Fishman suffer from great oppression of humans. As you know, in the recent world government manga, they clearly tried to destroy Fishman's reputation and make them hated among humans. I heard that the previous king was going to die quietly of old age, but after reading the government manga he died of anger. But even before that, the Fishman people were oppressed,
So I don't understand why the king of the Ryugu kingdom would allow all these humans people to enter his kingdom so easily. It seems that something happened that changed this situation.
Does this have something to do with Rob? Roger caressed his mustache while thinking seriously.
This. As I expected, there is an art store here.
Great. The air here is so fresh, the mood here is so happy.
Look at all these fishmen people, these beautiful mermaids, they get along so easily with each other as one would expect from a place with an art store.
My dear, didn't you say that the fishman races suffer from persecution and enslavement? Then why are their expressions happy?
This.
I also don't understand.
Guys, let's go to the art store first. The Ryugu Kingdom, Mermaid's Bay near the packed art store.
I didn't expect to see you here, Great Knight Neptune. That's because today is the update of the awaited volume.
Ah. I'm the one who didn't expect to see you here, Jamon.
Isn't this my kingdom? I can be anywhere I want.
And also, why are you here? Didn't I tell you the last time, you didn't need to come back, you know about that prophecy.
Hoi hoi. What is wrong with you?
Why are you afraid of just a prophecy?
Roger's group of pirates stood before King Neptune, whose towering height looked like a giant. But even so, Roger's presence was so towering that even someone from the Neptune King's level was tense.
That was because every time this man came here he caused a problem. The last time he came, Neptune wasn't a king yet, but Roger caused the wrath of a huge octopus whose huge body completely covered the bubble of the kingdom.
The problem is the huge octopus refused to budge until Roger got out of the kingdom.
The prophecy tells of someone coming soon who will destroy the gate of Fishman Island.
And since you are here, that means... Ah! What's going on, Jamon? Neptune-sama, it destroyed. Sea Kings have gnawed the gate.
A soldier from the royal guard came rushing to deliver the shocking news, which caused panic among the kingdom's residents and even their human guests.
What?
The depository Sea Kings did something like that.
Impossible. The prophecy came true. Odin did not know whether to laugh or cry. There is a hole in the outer bubble. Go! Go! Fix it fast. In the end, we couldn't stop this. See? It wasn't us. Roger took the opportunity to clear his name. Inside the art store.
The store goddess Susan puffed smoke from her pipe while looking at a group of pirates and King Neptune who were surrounding her daughter in the art store tavern.
Are you the famous clairvoyant girl, the source of this idiot king's prophecies? Little Shirley looked at Roger with a blank expression before nodding her head. Idiot king. Little Shirley, can you tell us why the Sea Kings are out of control?
Neptune asked about the urgent situation before everything else, but before that, he ordered his soldiers to calm the situation and tell the civilians that everything is under control now.
The Sea Kings going crazy because they are waiting for the mermaid princess to be born. The mermaid princess. That's bad. Neptune's expression turned grave after hearing that.
Why is this bad?
It's because I'm not married yet. PFT. Wahahaha. So what kept you from getting married? Why are you laughing, Roger? I ascended the throne only a few months ago, Jamon. Where is the time to get married?
I haven't had time for anything due to so much trouble the world government has caused us.
Calm down, I was only joking.
Suddenly, a green glow covered the ceiling of the art store and outside also, which made the situation more exciting. The horror of the incident caused by the Sea Kings previously disappeared and was replaced by great joy. Little Shirley took her glass ball and ran towards her mother.
Mama, hurry up, give me the new volume. Sky Island Saga, Skypiea Arc. Skypiea. It's really Skypiea. Am I the only one excited enough to shiver, or are all of you guys like me? Shut up, Captain. Let's read in silence. Ah, it's a pity that all the silent rooms have been monopolized. Sigh, you're right, Gabon, this world is unfair.
Let's see, the volume begins with chapter 237 and it's titled, At the Highest Sky.
PFT. What a funny cover, why is Wapple here? Wah-aha. The long-lived Wapple is eating. I'm the great king who will eat a tree. It really looks like a tree, wahaha. The rest of the crew looked at their captain in annoyance for a few seconds, but the next moment they burst out laughing out loud as well. Put. Ha 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 ha. Ha ha ha. Rob has a very high sense of humor. Rayleigh emptied the entire Coca-Cola bottle down his throat, feeling refreshed. How cool it is to read manga and drink Coca-Cola like that. Okay, let's read the chapters next. That sounds interesting. I hope there are more chapters to read in this volume. Equals 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 equals. Luffy, I can't breath. Gua. The scene of going merry breaking through the clouds. Teach, zay ha 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 ha. We lost to them. They escaped. Dog question cough. Those people are lucky. Burgess, don't talk as if it doesn't matter. Our prey has escaped. Captain, think of something. Let's hurry to chase them and eliminate them. Teach, zihahaha, stop worrying, Burgess. It's not like they're gone forever. Soon we will meet them again while they are in the Grand Line. Burgess. Van Augur, indeed. As long as this world makes all who are on the path to becoming strong meet one another. Just like a huge wheel. Teach, zihahaha. Really? We will see that. Burgess. Damn. Dog question cough. Yeah. Equals 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 equals. As long as people are on the path to becoming strong in this world, they are like a huge wheel, they will inevitably meet each other. This sniper is absolutely right. I also think Teach and Luffy will meet in the future. I'm looking forward to seeing that day. Roger put his hand on his heart. He could sense the renewed enthusiasm as well as the disease that was tearing at his heart little by little. Chapter 199, Sky Island Saga, Skypiea Arc. Part 2. Zoro, damn it. What happened? Is everybody okay? Sigh. Robin, gasp, gasp. Luffy, hey. Look, guys. Out ship. Zoro, what is this place? It's shining white. Chopper, clouds. Nami, over the clouds. How do we sail on the clouds? Luffy, we can certainly sail over it. Aren't they just clouds? Chopper, Zoro, Sanji, no, that's impossible. Chopper, that's bad, Usopp is don't breathing. Luffy, what? Think of something. Give him artificial respiration. Sanji, okay, I'll perform artificial respiration for Nami-san. Zoro, clumsy. Nami, in other words, this is the Sky Sea. But look, log pose is still pointing up. Robin, this is probably the middle part of the Scythian clouds. Chopper, should we go higher? How to do? Robin, I don't know. Sanji, did you call me clumsy? Zoro, I forgot. Usopp, this will be among the first things I will do in Sky Sea. Captain Usopp will swim. Ha 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 ha. Luffy / Chopper, whistling, megaphone, oh. Come on, go. Go. Sanji, hey, hey, hey. Don't act like fools, we still don't know anything about this sea. Usopp, the sea is the sea. Ha ha ha. Under the sea of clouds. Usopp, aha. Low resistance here. Also, I can't barely see because of the fog. Usopp. Wow, I can dive deeper and deeper. Luffy. He didn't back yet. Robin, just an idea, but is there really a bottom in this sea? Luffy / Chopper, you mean? Luffy, did that idiot fall from the clouds? Usopp. Sanji, I told that idiot not to fool around. Robin, extend your hand as hard as you can.
Luffy, but I can't see, I just rely on my sense of touch. Robin, don't worry, I'll handle it. Equals 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 equals. East Blue, Gecko Archipelago. Inside the syrup art store, Yassip and his wife Banshina looked at each other with embarrassment. They can sense the strange looks that the people around them give them. As if they were telling them, what an idiot you're going to birth him. He. It's good that he survived. I thought he'd fall from the sky for sure. All thanks to all the Osama's daughter. Banshina could not stop the tears of happiness. Yes, had it not been for her incredible ability to sprout parts of her body into anything she touched, it would have been impossible for Luffy to find Usopp based on touch sense alone. Well, that's a lesson for us to teach our child in the future. The title of the lesson will be, Don't Act Like a Fool Again. Because of their conversation, the strange looks on them became even more strange. But if you teach him that, he won't be the same funny Usopp anymore, damn you. Those were the thoughts of most of those who heard that, but the duo misinterpreted their looks. But being a store goddess, Banshina knew these looks, she'd had them all the time. After all, being a character who died in the manga, she was used to all kinds of looks from clients, something like pity, sadness, confusion, anger, and even admiration. She could sense all kinds of emotions from the eyes of its owners. Previously, before the appearance of the art store in the manga, the only looks that strangers gave her were scorn and mockery because of her long nose. She has even suffered from bullying more than once. Had it not been for Yassip to enter her life, it would have become much more dangerous. But with the advent of the manga, her life changed and her long nose became an advantage for her, but due to her death and her appearance only in flashback. Usopp fans didn't accept this and often blamed her for Usopp living a lonely and miserable life. But surely the biggest blame is on Yassip. But he was a strong man, he didn't really care about this nonsense. Banshina, don't bother with them. Let's continue reading the manga. I'm excited to see Usopp's new adventure. The Sky Sea. I really didn't expect such a thing to exist in this world. But it seems that after this incident he has become very afraid of anything to do with Sky Island. Will he be in the mood for adventure? Grand Line, Jaya Island. The Sky Sea really does exist above this island. Doesn't that mean that the Sky Island also exists? No, it really exists. Mock Town. In this place used to be a gathering of rubbish and thugs, but after the emergence of the art store, everything changed. An astonishing scene occurred, as hundreds of people walked out of the art store and started looking up at the sky in astonishment. Guys, I don't want to spoil the events for you all, but what's in the advanced chapters will blow your small minds. The hell? How do you read so fast? On the coast of the second part of Jaya Island. So Sky Island really does exist. What a strange world. Boss Cricket, why are you trembling? I'm just excited, but why are you asking such a question and you two are also trembling? Because we are also excited. ×2. Cricket took his manga book and continued reading the manga quietly. This story became much deeper than he had expected. Being a part of the new saga as a main character, Cricket was more influenced by the One Piece manga than ordinary people who weren't part of the story. He had an intuition, just an intuition, that this arc would be something very touching and pivotal to him and his clan. As the chapters he read increased, his intuition became stronger and stronger, and his heart also began to beat wildly. Sky Island, Alabasta. Although this huge and ancient kingdom became part of the past in the Blue Sea. But in the sky, it's now a part of the present. This is because it has become extremely popular among the residents of Burka, Skypiea, and even Shandia. Although Skypiea was not far from Alabasta, only 20 kilometers of the White Sea separated them, and even the inhabitants of both islands could see the shadows of their islands from their shores. But the closest island to Alabasta wasn't Skypiea, but Burka. Yes, only 15 kilometers separate the two islands. Burka was much smaller than Skypiea, and its speed movement over the sky was faster than Skypiea, so it was getting closer and closer to Alabasta. That means the distance between them was getting smaller and they're going to eventually merge together.
This doesn't mean that the distance between Burka and Skypea was short.
But for Alabasta, being a huge island hundreds of kilometers in size that suddenly appeared between the two islands made them seem closer. Of course, the appearance of such a huge island overnight wasn't going to remain a secret forever. At this point, the Sky People had bypassed the shock of Sandy Island's appearance near them, replaced by sheer excitement. King Cobra gave a decree allowing the inhabitants of the sky to enter his territory and showed a very welcoming attitude, which was widely applauded by the Sky People.
Skypea God, Gonfal. Burka God, Arden. And Shandia Chief, Valgar.
They all admit the Alabasta King Cobra as a leader of the Fourth Sky Tribe. This was an acceptance of the new reality and acceptance of the new tribe among them. After all, 10 million humans were no small thing to reject. After entering Alabasta, the Burkans discovered the art store and became as fond as the people who discovered the art store before them. At first, they were shocked by the vast lands of Alabasta and the vast supplies they had never dreamed of before, but after getting to know the art store, it all became secondary. For this reason, at this moment the humans in Alabasta, the Burkans, the Scipians as well as the Shandians can be seen roaming the capital city Alyabarna with happy expressions on their faces. There were even humans who had found their love from the Sky People and got married, which was what the four chiefs were very welcoming of.
Even for Rob, life here has become a true paradise for 10 million people. King Cobra Palace.
In the conference room, many important people have gathered today.
Of course, Rob was the highlight.
As well as the Alabasta King Cobra, Skypea God Gonfal, Burka God Arden, and Shandia Chief Valgar. Everyone was holding a manga book in their hands. They were reading the chapters and making different expressions at every moment. Rob was enjoying this. He could feel the storm brewing little by little.
These four chiefs already know that their islands will no longer remain secrets, and everyone in the world will know that they exist.
But even so, they showed happy expressions as if they didn't care at all. This is because the only safe way to reach them from the blue sea was in Rob's hands alone. Perhaps they will feel the fear only after getting to know the flying pirate Shiki in the upcoming saga.
Rob Sama. As I see here your daughter Robin.
Sorry, I mean the future Robin Sama talking about Noland who mentioned the skyfish in his diary.
I wonder if you'll put the story of the ancestor Kalgara and Noland later?
Rob looked admiringly at Shandia Chief. This person was very clever.
I believe that if you continue to read silently, you will discover all you desire. After all, Skypea arc is completely finished in this volume. Don't you see the thickness of the book? The four chiefs couldn't maintain a calm facade anymore.
Up until this moment, they are still only at the beginning of the volume and they are getting so excited.
This Shandia tribe member.
It didn't take long before Shandia Chief shrieked in awe again. But moments later, he sucked in a breath of cold air and looked toward Gonfal, who was equally shocked.
It's me? Gonfal looked at Rob in astonishment. He didn't expect his appearance in the manga would be so soon. Chapter 200, Sky Island Saga, Skypea Arc.
Part 3. Conies, in Skypea, there is one place that no one should ever enter, and that place is very close to this island.
Plus it's easy to access by using the Weaver. Nami, so huge. What these? There is real land here. Robin, the place no one should enter. What is it? Conies, it's the Holy Land. It's where God dwells. Upper Yard. Luffy, the god there? Where no one should enter. Conies, yes, this is God's land, and it's ruled by the great god Enel. Usopp, ha! Hey, Luffy! What are you thinking about now? You heard what she just said, right? No one should tread on it means no one should enter. Luffy? Luffy, oh, really, is there a place where no one should enter? Luffy, I see. A forbidden land. Ha 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 ha, musical notes. Zoro Sanji Usopp Chopper, he's definitely going there. McKinley, the white berets, ha ha ha. You idiots. If you did what we asked of you, all thing would be fine.
We, the White Berets, are the most lenient law enforcers in God's land.
Those on the contrary, will never be tolerant. Zoro. Sanji.
McKinley, the White Berets, by doing this, you have become second-class criminals. It doesn't matter how much you cry or scream.
Ha ha ha. Priests of Upper Yard will judge you all personally. Hi so.
Don Fall, temporary, I'll take care of this girl.
I will protect her from being attacked. Now that you know the reality of this country and the god power, will you continue to advance?
Luffy, we have nothing to do with the affairs of this country.
But we have friends on God Island. Don Fall, I see. Good luck to you then. Luffy, well, let's go. To Upper Yard. Conies, what about them?
Don Fall, they will continue the path they chose.
It's not your fault. Conies. Conies. I know who you are. Don Fall, I am the Sky Knight. Conies, no. Everyone knows.
Please come back to us, God. Equals 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 equals. Rob lifted his head off the manga book because he felt others were looking at him for a while.
Although he's the author, he enjoyed reading One Piece manga even though he already knew the events.
It was a good boredom-busting routine, especially reading it with the people involved in the manga, just like now.
Why are you looking at me like that for a while? Don't you want to keep reading anymore?
Rob looked at the four chiefs who had stopped reading the manga at some point and were looking at him in confusion, or rather, they all had something to say. Rob-san, the past few chapters have helped me discover a lot of facts about Sky Island that I didn't know in the past months since Alabasta moved to the White Sea.
I am really very grateful. Even my people will know so much from this book.
No problem, you can continue reading, there is still a lot of information you need to know, Cobra-san. Rob was interested to know his reaction after seeing the Golden City and seeing another poneglyph, knowing that Cobra would probably ask for the information in the poneglyph to engrave it into the desert records, which was a big slab Rob had designed for him. As for the people of Alabasta, Rob is sure many of them will be greedy for Shandora's gold, which is not far from them anymore. Why the Statue of Earth is in the middle of Lovely Street?
It belongs to Shandia, and currently, we have it in Upper Yard. How did it get here? Don't you know that what you are reading there, it's an events from the future, Valgar-san? Ah.
Shandia Chief was dumbfounded after remembering that he was reading about events that might happen in the future. The statue and Shandia warrior nicknamed Gorilla were the things that attracted him so far. And he wasn't the only one, but all the Shandia people in the Upper Yard.
What's going on here? Who is this god Enel? Why do my people seem to be in trouble with this unknown god? Why are you asking a question that you can know the answer to in that book in your hands, Gonfalsan? It's because I'm confused by the events here.
This young lady Conies said, God, please come back to us.
I also keep calling myself a Sky Knight. Is this going to happen in the future?
Gonfall was nervous about losing his position to someone else one day.
Didn't the name Enel remind you of someone? Enel. You mean
Lovely Street, Art Store, Angel Island. After the release of the new volume, the Scipions on Angel Island got into quite a commotion. After all, the new volume was talking about their land and some of them even showed up in the chapters.
They entered Skypiea without paying the entrance fee. Unbelievable, Hyso. That's to be expected from the Straw Hats.
When they heard 1 billion extols per person, they were terrified, Hyso.
You're right, Hyso. The gatekeeper Amazon become too old like a dwarf.
Luffy is not mistaken for calling her a dry pickle. Shut up, you idiot, she'll hear you. She's in the art store too, but she still looks pretty lady in her peak 50s.
Do even angels among women become dry pickles too quickly? I think the author has something against Amazon-san. Conversations like this can be heard everywhere inside and outside the art store. Don't stress yourself out, girls, you can take a break and enjoy reading the manga too.
Alvia looked kindly at the young waitresses who were hardworking and tirelessly delivering customers' orders. Most of them were women whom Rob rescued that day and gave them work at this place. They loved their work very much, and their love for work did not decrease but only increased with the passage of years. "Don't worry about us, Alvia-sama. Today is a very important day for the kind Skypea people, so we'll make sure they enjoy it to the fullest." The waitress who said that was Marta, Angel Island's most famous store goddess, along with Claudia. Marta looked toward Claudia and gently winked before saying, "I think it's Claudia-chan who needs a break with her husband, Pagaya-san." Alvia looked at the beautiful blonde angel. This beautiful angel was very similar to Koni's in the manga. Everyone now knows that this cute waitress is most likely Koni's mother. "Can I really?" Claudia said shyly, looking into the corner where her husband was sitting. "Of course, you can, Bella-chan. Can you take her place?" Belmir raised her head from the manga book with a depressed expression and nodded obediently. "What do you think of the events in the manga?" Sitting in front of her husband, Claudia couldn't stand the silence and asked in a low voice. It's another great adventure for the Straw Hats. I still can't believe someone like me will appear in One Piece. Haha, I look old, right? Hi, so, look, everyone is pointing their fingers at us and whispering, looks like we're going to be famous. But why do I feel that you are so sad, contrary to what you are saying?" Claudia grabbed her husband's hand before saying again. I am not dead yet, I'm still here. Don't worry about a future that is no longer unknown, we can change any bleak future together." Pagaya's often closed eyes opened and his wife's weeping face was reflected in his gaze. Far from the sky, the uproar in the blue sea was much greater than it was in the sky. The fact that there was a huge island in the sky, a wonderful civilization, people resembling angels, and also a god above all, made the inhabitants of the Grand Line feel very stunned, not to mention the inhabitants of the blue seas. All whoever reads the manga has their worldview completely reversed, even before they have finished reading the entire volume. Tato Land, Sweet City. Mama. Sky Island. I've always wanted to go to this mysterious place to get creatures of a new race on my perfect island. A frightful thundercloud formed over the whole cake chateau that was Big Mom's castle. As soon as Charlotte Leanlean's voice spread in the sky of Sweet City, lightning struck the sides of the cake castle, but neither did it harm the castle nor cause it to be destroyed. The lightning was just a reflection of Leanlean's spiritual power. Linlin had now reached a terrifying level of strength. One Piece manga made her feel another level of threat. Even though she allied with the manga author himself, that didn't make her feel very comfortable. The only thing that could make her feel really comfortable was her power. So she cut back her voracious eating habit to make time for training. Since the appearance of One Piece manga, she has been training hard. She had a frightening physical talent and a special kind of solid body, and using a devil fruit she could also train her haki while training a devil fruit at the same time. Her training methods varied, but the goal was one, and that was to become stronger than Roger, stronger than Whitebeard, and stronger than Rob. Perhaps if she becomes stronger than these, she can rule the sea as a pirate queen. This fake god called Enel is definitely using the lightning fruit ability. Did Rob steal it from him as for what? Mama. Does he call himself a god because of that? What a joke, the strength level is still very low in this manga. When will you level up by the manga, Rob? When will these brats in your manga enter the new world? Katakuri. Yes, Mama? Go get a ship, we'll go on a leisure trip to Sky Island. Maragoa. The domain of gods was in a huge uproar because of the manga. Angels. There are angels in this world. Like they who appeared in the Heir of the World manga. But didn't they go extinct? Anyway, this place is for us, the true gods of this world. God Enel? What a joke! Is there a mortal in this world who dares to call himself a god? Where are you going, Saint Straws? My son wants to adventure on Sky Island. I will ask the fleet admiral to organize a trip for my little family to the sky. I also want to try playing with some female angels. Saint Straws wiped the saliva that formed at the side of his mouth. When he tried to smile, his face looked more disgusting than it would without the smile. You're not going alone, Saint Straws, are you? All the other saints want to go.
Sky Island will definitely become mine. Ha! Saint Mainriard, do you want to compete with me? Beside them, celestial dragon guards were sweating.
What they had just heard would definitely not have a happy ending. On the other side of the domain of gods, the atmosphere was getting weird in Pangaea Castle. The castle was clearly shaking, but no one could sense it. That wraps up this part of What If Becoming a Mangaka in One Piece World.
Thanks so much for listening.
As always, new parts drop every 4 days, so be sure to stay tuned. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and please consider supporting the original author as well.
See you in the next one.